in a world divided by data and conflict. Welcome to Pixels to Politics, Season 3.
Welcome, everybody, to an episode of Pixels to Politics. I'm your host, Dougie. This is episode 95 of Season 3. And today, we will be talking about the midterm primaries that are just closing up as I start this episode here on Tuesday. Some disappointing results for me, Floridian, but not at all that surprising. And I believe we also have Alaska and Wyoming, who had some primaries, some important primaries going on. Now, to be honest with you, I live in Florida. I haven't really been paying attention to the other states, but, you can see what I can dig up really quick. We do have a Florida politician who won tonight committing a felony on camera and still not getting prosecuted, so that'll be fun. I have another Floridian politician who just got caught on child predation charges. Hilarious. Ironically, not literally, because he helped pass a law that may end up sentencing him to death. Anyways, we talk about primaries tonight. Also, be kind of talking a little bit about the debate that we covered on, was it Monday? I think it was Monday. And just some general thoughts and feelings about, the current state of politics, I guess, for here in America anyway. But yeah, so some of these are just closing up. So most of the Floridian ones are pretty much closed up. But, we do have some interesting results. So I'll start with the easiest one. GOP governor of Florida, the primary. Byron Donalds won. Probably. It's pretty guaranteed he won. He's at 47%. Jay Collins is at 25%. And Fishback came in last at like 9% or something. So I actually have his video that he just posted not too long ago as he lost. And I'm just going to take a second to talk about it a little bit. So, I covered the Florida governor's debate hosted by PBD. And it was a lot of fun. And some of the stuff I said in there, I still stand by. It's really hard, I think, to lose as a Floridian, just because our politicians tend to care a lot about the state. We have a lot of big donors here. So most of the money that comes, or flows into their pockets comes from a Floridian. So there's some caring about it. They don't want business to outflow. Florida, I believe, has like has the fastest growing economy in the USA, at least at the moment. Large growth pretty much across the board. So, anyways, what I'm saying is the three frontrunners for the GOP, they're very similar, to be honest with you. They're extremely similar. Specifically, Jay Collins and Paul Renner, they're basically exact same cloth. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of Floridians actually like DeSantis. They like a lot of his policies and what he's done. We have like some of the lowest crime rates we've had in 50 years. Like, just pretty much insane, very in line with current general sentiment across the board. Obviously, it's politics. There's always people who are on the far left or on the other side, or, we're going to disagree. I'm not saying it's perfect. Don't get me wrong. But when I look at some other states like New York and Minnesota, fucking California, even Texas, honestly, I'm like, yeah, our state's not too bad. I'm sure there would be a lot of Floridians who disagree with me. That being said, quality of life here, I would say, is a little better than other places, even within this country. So, pretty much every single one of the people running for governor here, I believe even on the Democrat side, we're all glazing DeSantis. We're all glazing him. And again, for a lot of the reasons that I said. And he's not perfect. I think he's a little too pro-censorship when it comes to certain people. We're one of the biggest buyers of shekels. which I think is ridiculous. There's a lot of crime here. There's a lot of fraud here. A lot of not normal crime, but like white collar crime. This was a hub for uh, trafficking. Well, it's a hub for drug trafficking. It's a hub for human trafficking. There's a lot of crime here that I think needs to be addressed. A lot of having to do with you know who. But again, for the most part, all of the governors had to glaze him. Two of the runners were literally they worked for him. One of them was the lieutenant governor. Another one worked in the House, I believe. The only real outlier and the winner, Byron Donalds, is currently a Florida Senate member. He has some terrible stats. I'm both surprised he won and not surprised, just because Florida is a boomer state. We probably have the most boomers. They have no idea what's going on. Not the faintest idea, and a lot of money was pushed to back Byron Donalds. President Trump, backed Byron Donalds like 8 times out loud. So boomers, they're boomers. It is what it is. Also, a large youth population here. Again, it's a weird state. I can talk about Florida all day long. It's a really weird state. And a lot of the youth were looking at James Fishback. He stood out to, I think, a lot of the I'm gonna say basement dwellers, but I don't mean it derogatory. Okay, I just mean internet folk. All right, who have been noticing things online, noticing a certain super PAC that seems to have a lot of influence in our elections, seems to have a lot of influence on our politics. And Fishback was a no APAC receiver. He was against the data centers being put up. He is against the mass surveillance, flock cameras that are being put up here. And I think he was the only one. The other two definitely were fine with it. They were taking the money. And obviously Byron Donalds, easily another taker of the money. So a lot of people looked at Fishback, a lot of younger people, and were like, hey, this is our guy. A little more libertarian. He spoke, often against the APAC money, receival stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you're fucking spend a lot of time in the internet, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You probably have heard his name. That being said, he wasn't even close to winning. 10%. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's bad in the sense that he wasn't even close to winning. Is it good for someone who is preaching what he's preaching, stands for what he stands for, and is new to politics to make it that far? I don't know. Probably. It's not bad. I like that the message is starting to get pushed. We're going to talk about Dan's Blitzerian too. He also made a lot of progress, even though I believe he also lost to a guy who literally committed a felony on camera, which don't worry, I'll show it. But you're seeing a large amount of politicians or people trying to get into politics who are firmly against receiving foreign aid, foreign money, super PAC money in general. And the bigger kind of takeaway from this is that they're actually getting a lot more support from voters than they should, because it used to be, and it's something he says in this video that I'm about to show, it used to be a direct correlation between how much money was spent on you and your campaign and how many votes you got. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, the amount of money you get still matters, but it's dropping by quite a bit. And we've been seeing that all year, where people who have been completely just like not even close, like in terms of money received versus how much money went to their opponent, win anyway. And we saw that again tonight. It's a little less because, again, Florida's super red and lots of boomers. It is what it is. But it is changing, and that matters a lot. That matters a lot because you'll start to see a lot of newcomers start to spawn up with some new ideologies that can't be bought because they didn't win with money in the first place. That's good news. I like that. And I would argue that the real influence that's kind of played a more major role is kind of Trump pointing at people and saying, vote for this guy, vote for this woman, vote for this guy, vote for this woman. That's kind of played a much larger role than just money spent. which again could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think it'll be good in the future. So, anyways, we'll watch this video. He did lose. Is what it is.
Good evening. Good evening, Tampa. 9 months ago, we started this race right here in Tampa. We started a race that was against all odds. A race.
Yeah, I mean, even people who supported him didn't expect him to win. But again, it's kind of about sending a message.
That campaigned outside of churches. A race that campaigned even today in parking lots outside of voting precincts. And yes, a race that campaigned in Waffle House, and we're going back there soon. The truth is that victory is near. Perhaps not for this campaign tonight, but victory for our movement has never been closer. I am here to tell you that America First is inevitable.
I think it's growing. Inevitable? Maybe. I know a lot of people are calling people like this controlled opposition and that they shouldn't vote for them in general. That being said, it's not necessarily always voting for the person. It's more you're voting for the message. And that's kind of what matters more. And I think Trump is a good example of that, about what happens when you betray the message. And so even if this guy was controlled opposition, an agent, it still is about sending a message. And the message that a lot of people are going to see and take away from this is that, okay, there's kind of a platform for this. And so I've been encouraging people to run, normies to run for office, because we really need to flood the zone.
I just spoke with Congressman Donalds on the phone and congratulated him on his victory.
Of the three candidates, I do not like Byron the most. Of all of the, well, I guess it's four candidates. Of the four candidates for Florida governor, GOP, I hate him the most. I think he's the biggest sellout. I don't even, he might as well not even be a person. He is just a shill for the machine that keeps chugging along. And we will see. I don't know what we'll see actually going into it if he wins. There's a lot of people saying that Florida could turn blue, at least in terms of the governor. Maybe voting for this guy Jolly, who just won for the Democrats. I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's a hard say. I don't think so, just based on the voting numbers, but we'll see. However, we'll see what comes of Byron Donalds being governor.
The truth, I congratulated him, and the truth is that while I concede this race, I do not concede this fight, because the future of our country is on the line. Our opposition had over $100 million. We had 1% of that.
Yeah, see? That's kind of the point. And again, even just 10, 20 years ago, there was an extreme direct correlation between dollars spent and vote count. It was extreme. It's decreasing by quite a bit. And so even people with much smaller bank accounts, who aren't getting bankrolled by these massive super PACs, are, again, not only gaining momentum, but they're winning. I'm going to show some winners tonight, mostly on the Democrat side right now. A lot of the DSA members on the Democrat side are winning against their pro-APAC members. And that could play a larger role in November. You know, we'll see. But what I will say is APAC control has been decreasing all year long. And there's a reason for that. And I'm okay. I like this. I like that it's mostly the internet and social media is starting to play a much larger role in who gets elected, just because it kind of ends up laying down framework for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money and somebody whose opinions the government might not like, being able to make it much further in our government, which is, again, it's more free to me.
And yet, we secured 10 times as many votes as the dollars we raised, because this campaign from the beginning has not been about APAC, it's been about impact here in Florida. The truth is that it's quite fitting that our movement has taken itself to new heights, as we are celebrating 250 years since our founding fathers stood up, looked around, and said, enough is enough. Today, our generation and younger is doing the same. They look to colleges that allow foreign students to replace American citizens with limited slots. They look around.
Boo. It's a lot more nationalistic. I don't want to keep pausing it to like express my own political views. I'll say this: I don't agree with everything he says. I lean more nationalist, but kind of traditional American. This new wave of politicians, it's funny because even on the Republican side, this new wave of politicians are somewhat I don't want to say anti-capitalist, but they seem to not understand the value of a free market. And currently we're more corporatism. We're more in corporatism than free market, which annoys the shit out of me. But yeah, it's this obviously is starting to heavily appeal to much younger people. I mean, you can see there's not a gray hair in the crowd. There's a reason for that.
To employers.
And yeah, it's funny, I didn't think about it till literally just now, but even on the Republican side, sort of, I don't want to directly call it anti-capitalist because this is nothing compared to DSA, but it is slightly less free market.
With the most corporate profits in history.
See, I mean, I guess I didn't even have to, I should have just let the video continue playing.
Firing qualified Americans and replacing them with H-1Bs. They look to a housing market where it's next to impossible.
Statistically, it's just wrong. Florida has I think it's the highest amount of flipping going on in the country. In terms of housing, it's the most amount of houses on sale, some shit. I don't know. The prices are dropping quickly. Whatever. His statement that he just said, it's changing really quick. We're putting up the most amount of houses. The price of housing is dropping super quick. Not that it wasn't bad. It was bad. But it's changing pretty quick.
For a young man or woman to buy a home, let alone to start a family, let alone to have kids. That is what is at stake. That same underlying frustration, that same disaffection is with our generation today. And make no mistake, it was the young men in 1776 who led that fight.
You can clearly tell why boomers weren't voting for this guy.
Thomas Jefferson was 33 at the signing of the Declaration. James Madison was 25. Alexander Hamilton was 21. The truth is that young men and women built this country, and we will save it. But we will save it not by simply doing what the establishment would like, but by drawing a new picture for what our country represents. Our movement is nothing new. What we are fighting for is not novel. These are things that Americans have toiled for years, have fought wars for years, and we are ready for our next battle.
I wonder if what is he hinting at here?
The path before us is clearer than ever. In this election, we did something that has never been done in Florida politics. We turned out a record of under 40 voters who showed up to support a movement that says enough is enough and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, again, the biggest focus right now that I have is just trying to encourage as many people to vote as possible, and especially younger people. But I learned recently it's a 30% turnout rate for voters nationwide of eligible voters, 30%. It's so gross, guys. Please get out and vote for the love of God. And I think it's good. Again, I don't necessarily agree with all this guy's politics, but I think it's good that people like this are encouraging young people to enter the voting market. Because in general, once these guys start, they're not going to stop, which matters a lot because, they'll start moving their attention to other places in which it's going to have impact, which, again, is super important. And honest to God, I hate to tie it to back, but really, Charlie Kirk is the one who was kind of at the forefront of getting young people to vote, specifically for Republicans.
Remember how hard they tried to stop us. Remember how they tried to sue us off the ballot, not because they were afraid of me, but because they're afraid of you. Remember the attack ads during the World Cup. They knew this race would turn out the next generation, and the next generation is fed up.
Boomers!
Now is a time to recommit ourselves to the founding values that set this great nation into motion. The movement that we started here in Tampa in November does not end tonight. We merely pick up the pen and write the next chapter.
I hope I get it, you gotta give a speech. But I hope you're saying that you're, planning on doing something else, because if you're just baiting.
To the 170,000 people who trusted our movement across the state, thank you. To the 67 counties that we visited over the last 9 months, the first campaign running for governor in Florida history to do so, thank you. To our phone bankers who made 500,000 calls across the state of Florida.
Okay, I'm just jumping to the end here, guys. I don't care.
H-1B scam and put American workers first. The question is, will you join me in grabbing that pen and writing the next great chapter of American history? Let's do that together, and let's continue this extraordinary fight. Thank you so much.
Okay, I mean, I thought he was going to announce, like, a running for president or some shit. Not that I thought he was going to win, but, like, I don't know, I thought he was ramping his speech up. So, he lost. I mean, in the end, he just lost. But I guess it was an interesting run. I think the message is slightly more obvious as to what boomers care about versus young people. It just is what it is. And we'll probably start to see that message grow larger and larger. Jake Collins came in second. He is also somebody I like the least. He came off as a hothead to me. Again, very much bought and paid for by all the big companies. And he came in second. So there was not a chance that he was going to win. Fishback was going to win. And it's probably because of his main message, but whatever. All right, so now we're going to jump over to another Floridian race having to do with a guy who committed a fucking felony on camera. So let's see if I can find it. It's Dan Blitzerin versus Randy Fine. So Dan Blitzerin is a lot more open about his anti-Israel stance. He calls for the destruction of Israel. He's very open about it. There's nothing hidden. Randy Fine versus Blitz. However, his opponent, Randy Fine, committed a crime, a federal crime on camera. Trying to find it here, guys. Where did it go? And he still won. And they already said he wasn't going to press charges. So this is him, Randy Fine. Allegedly. Sorry, allegedly Randy Fine. He's doing his, getting people to vote for him thing. It's kind of hard to believe that this is a politician. Like, further, I don't know. Just by himself, just walking the streets. Is this how you become a politician? You just run around knocking on people's doors like a Girl Scout? Please vote for me. Thought about running for some local stuff myself just for fun. If this is all it takes, maybe I could. Anyways, if you're just listening, he knocks on a door. This is not him. Surely this is like an Amazon Prime delivery driver or something. He knocked on the door. He's waiting for an answer. He doesn't get one. He's staring at like a little box on the wall, which is technically their mailbox. Okay, and I thought he was just gonna drop this letter in the box, but yeah, he's kind of sifting through the mailbox. Hello? What is this guy doing? I mean, okay. That's not legal, bro. You can't do that. You cannot go through people's mailboxes. It's a federal crime. I can't tell if he was planning on putting something in there or what, but he's just kind of like sifting through it. You can't do that. That's illegal. What the hell? And dude, okay, I'm not saying you should vote based on someone's appearance, but Randy Fine is quite rotund. And this is what Dan Blitzerian looks like. I believe they were running for a House seat. And Dan is this like Uber Chad. This is him here. He's got the Chad jaw, the great beard. He looks like he, cuts wood. MAGA Congressman Randy Fine wins the Republican primary in Florida's 6th congressional district, defeating far-right challenger Dan Blitzerian. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. This guy's a roly-poly. He's a roly-poly. I believe he received $100 million also in funds from AIPAC. Here is him talking to some Jews.
Jews around the country that they don't need to hide who they are.
What in the fuck is going on? What is he wearing? Is this like a lie detector test? I'm so confused.
Jews around the country that they don't need to hide who they are. We need to stand up for what is right, not be afraid, not be ashamed, and pound sand to those who don't like us very much. And so I wear it every day, and I'm proud to do it.
What is he like? What is he talking about? What is he wearing? What is going on? He's got like a camera strapped to his head. He's got the hat that I always forget the name of. And then he's got all kinds of weird shit strapped to his arm. Like, he looks like Rock Lee from Naruto. Like, these are his weights. He's got to take off to fight.
I love that. I really hope that many other politicians...
I feel gross watching this.
Just Jews around America follow in Congressman Fine's footsteps. Be proud of, be
And literally what inspired me to do it, you know, when I decided to start wearing it, it was
Oh, he's talking about the hat.
you know, we were sort of unsure, did we want to do this? And then 3 days after I started wearing it, I got to be the speaker pro tem. I thought, well, I guess then that means it falls to me. And so that did have negatives. I also didn't keep kosher. And that night, I'm wearing my kippah. Shoes around.
What a fucking cuck. Listen, I have Jewish blood. This guy's a cuck. Okay, he's goyim. I hate to say it, but like, this guy is looking at this guy like he's a slave. That's essentially what's going on here. I can't keep talking like this, guys. It's hurting the channel. It's hurting the views, I think. But I just can't help myself. This guy's like, I bow to you. I bow to you. You are my master. You are my master. Look, I wear your hat and weird bandages on my arms. Like, what is going on, dude? How does this guy commit a felony and win? What, like, tell me as a voter, please, tell me if you voted for this guy, what about seeing this makes you want to vote for this guy? Like, in any way, shape, or form. What about you watching this, if you're not a Jew? What about you watching this makes you go, yeah, this is the guy I want in office. This is the guy who represents me. Seriously, like, honest to God, I'm curious. Because clearly people are not seeing the same things that I'm seeing, right? Like, what are they seeing instead of this rotund fucker battling off against a lumberjack? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I just showed two people a picture of the rotund guy and the lumberjack guy, and I was like, who would you want leading your country? I'm supposed to believe that most people pick the round guy? No offense to overweight people, but, you know, it's unhealthy. Like, look at this. This guy or this guy? Like, what? And how does he not get charged? Dude, every single day it's like this. Every single fucking day. And so I covered it yesterday, but weirdly, all of these influencers and the Speaker of the House and Speaker of the Senate, majority and minority leaders, Hakeem Jeffries and what's the other weasel's name? Whatever. They both came out and were like, guys, whatever you do, don't vote for Dan. He's anti-Semitic. And I'm just so curious as to how that both sides of the aisle can finally come to work together just to look at some minor seat in Florida, some minor House seat. They had to take their time out of their schedule to go and make sure that nobody voted for that guy. And instead, somehow this guy wins. Look at this guy, bro. Like, Republican congressional candidate in Florida is running campaign ads that celebrate Hitler, depict a Jewish congressman with horns, and reference the Jewish problem. Both Speaker Johnson and Democratic leader Jeffries are now condemning it as blatant anti-Semitism. So, yeah, that's what I was referring to. Surprisingly, he got more votes than I thought he would. Way more votes. Let me see if I can pull it up here. He's declaring that the election was probably cheated. Maybe. I don't know. This is his numbers. So he was in second, which to me is fucking amazing that was even happening. Maybe James Fishback just wasn't trying hard enough. You know? Like, maybe he just wasn't being loud enough. But Randy Fine, this was at 7:32 p.m. EST. Randy Fine was at 8,600 votes with 37 percentage points. Dan was also at 8,000 at 35%. So, I mean, that was close second. And then all of a sudden, he lost 2,000 votes. I don't know if this is edited or not. This guy does seem a bit facetious. Can't tell if he's being serious or not. But if it's real, then yeah, probably some election interference, which Florida is no stranger to. Yeah. I mean, that is crazy. That is crazy for sure. I doubt it'll be looked at. I doubt anything will change. Again, we're just seeing like crime after crime here. Randy Fine commits a felony on camera, and then we're watching 2,000 votes just vanish into thin air. Interesting. Republican Florida Representative Randy Fine trounces Jew-hating GOP primary foe, cheered Hitler. And this guy replied, "It's rigged. It's rigged like this, and you know it. Tell me this isn't hog behavior. Is this how you want to be represented?" Dan was a Marine, patriarch to the core, loves the U.S., cool guy. Again. I mean, look at this guy. I'm so tired of seeing unhealthy people. Look at, I mean, he can't even walk from desk to desk. That's how unhealthy he is. And like, it's not all that matters, right? Looks isn't all that matters, but it's usually a fucking good indicator. I'm curious to see what happens between. Dan says some things that I'm not sure I could say here on YouTube without getting in trouble, but if you can just read it, then good for you. Let me see if I can kind of just bleep it out. He said, "The effing somebody's made me lose the effing election." He was in second for a close while. But yeah, all right, let's look at some other elections, guys. All right, let's look at some other elections. I'm gonna rattle some quick ones off. We had House District 14 in Florida between Beltran in first with 45% and Steele 30%. We have House District 19 with Schwartzel at 30% and Loff at 22%. Those are for the GOP, sorry. The Democrat, you have House District 20 with Wasserman Schultz winning at 45%. And Florida House District 22 Democrats putting forward Dandia at 68%. Again, I'm unfamiliar with these guys. Askar for the Republicans, Moskowitz, Jesus, for the Democrats. Beard or Bird, it says too early to call, but he's at 80%. Oh, this is for Wyoming. All right, let's just scroll some stuff. AIPAC congratulates to 21 pro-Israel candidates who won their primaries tonight in Florida, including several who defeated anti-Israel candidates determined to undermine the U.S.-Israel alliance. I assume this is the message. We can congratulate this is literally AIPAC writing this. We congratulate pro-Israel incumbents Senator Ashley Moody and Representatives Aaron Bean, Gus Bilirakis, Kat Kemak, Kathy Castor, Mario Diaz-Balart, Randy fucking Fine, who committed a felony on camera. Truly incredible. Louis Frankel, Scott Franklin, Carlos Jimenez, Mike Hertopoulos, Laurel Lee, Anna Paulina, who, God, I want to make a whole video on that bitch. Brian Mast, Jared Moskowitz, Jimmy Petronas, John Rutherford, Maria Elvira Salazar, Darren Soto, Craig Stube, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. With their victories, more than 254 AIPAC-backed candidates from both parties have now advanced to the November general election. So, they don't try and hide it. It's no... I don't ever see any other super PAC advertised on my timelines like this. They're the only one. And yet they complain about how much hate they get all the time. People complaining about how much influence they have. But you brag about your win all the time. You brag about it. These results demonstrate the AIPAC's nearly 7 million members are resolute in their determination to help elect pro-Israel leaders between now and November, and in the many cycles ahead. Why would you associate yourself with Randy Fine? True. Very true. They brag about it. 254 backed candidates is crazy. We haven't seen AIPAC losing a lot. So Byron Donalds had 740,000 votes. I don't know what this guy means by anti-Byron vote at almost 800,000. So they're counting up all the other votes across both the Republicans and Democrats as anti-Byron votes. I don't think that's the case. but, who knows? We'll see. James Fishback won the precinct at the University of South Florida and multiple precincts on the University of Tampa campus. Okay, I mean, he still wasn't even close. I don't understand. Florida Governor GOP nominee Byron Donalds says his administration plans to abolish property taxes in Florida. Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, shall we look at Wyoming? Let's look at Alaska first. Apparently their votes go until 1 a.m. Maybe that's, I don't know, for fucking weather reasons or something. I'm not sure. No idea. DOJ launches investigation into Alaska Senate candidate Dan J. Sullivan, probing whether he entered the race to confuse voters with incumbent Senator Dan S. Sullivan. I kind of hope that's true. That would be awesome. These are all the Trump-endorsed candidates. So, Ashley Moody, Byron Donalds, James Uthmeyer for our Attorney General, Wilton Simpson, and for 5 in the House, most that we've already mentioned. It's interesting that Trump's picks align very much with AIPAC, which, says that I don't need to bother rereading all of these. So the Alaska race is still going on. I don't even think they've begun counting their votes because I don't have any counts here. They're still going. The Democrat side for GOP, I don't know if I mentioned it. I thought it was pretty obvious, but David Jolly, he won. It wasn't even close. 61%. The next guy was a chick, Dana Foster, with 15% of the vote. And obviously, that's just not even close. So, it will be Byron Donalds versus David Jolly, which means I'm going to have to do my research to see who I'm voting for. Again, I really don't like Byron Donalds. There'll be some very clear messages that I'm looking for from Jolly. I vote independent, and I have no shame in swapping sides when I think I should, as one should. Let's look at Wyoming, guys. Let me just put that in here. Wyoming. California has wasted. That's not what I'm looking for. Kenneth Kasner is officially the Democratic nominee for the governor of Wyoming. I don't know anything about him, boys. I have no idea. It looks like people are saying, who cares? Because Wyoming is a red state. Is it? I don't actually know. Again, I was only paying attention to Florida. DDHQ race updates. Wyoming U.S. Senate primary. James Byrd with 53. Yeah, we already know he won. It wasn't even close.
For primary election candidates in Alaska, Florida, and Wyoming. We're taking a closer look now at a couple of themes emerging in this year's contests. First up, election deniers running for office across the country.
In several key battleground states, Republican candidates who've questioned the legitimacy of the 2020 election are on the ballot. If elected to statewide offices like governor and secretary of state, these candidates could shape how elections are administered and certified in the years ahead. Our White House correspondent Liz Landers has been tracking.
It's PBS, guys. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't know why they're harping on that. Of all the issues that people are voting on, this one I think is the least. I don't think people are looking at these candidates and going, "Yeah, I hope this guy fixes voter fraud." The three biggest issues that I'm seeing is AIPAC, or foreign influence in our government, is the DSA, or sort of the socialism versus capitalism or corporatism kind of thing going on. So the economy. And the third would probably be the war. No one I know is like, oh God, yeah, I gotta vote this guy in. He's gonna fix a voter fraud. Maybe I shouldn't even watch PBS. Whatever.
All of this and joins us now.
We'll just judge them.
Who are some of these election deniers running in key states, and could some of them win?
The answer is yes. The Constitution says that states decide the time, place, and manner of conducting their own elections. So that's why we wanted to look at who is running for governor and secretary of state in some of these key
Dude, I'm already getting annoyed. She's not answering any of the questions, and what she's rambling about is completely
swing
meaningless.
states. In 5 of the most important swing states, looking at these governor's races, there's a Republican nominee who has a record of election denialism. Let's start with Arizona. Andy Biggs. He voted against certifying the 2020 election in his own state there as a sitting member of Congress. In Michigan, John James has said that the 2020 election was, quote, rigged and manipulated against himself and...
Dude. Do they talk about anything important?
Who also ran.
No, they're still talking about election denial. I don't listen, PBS. You're so behind on the program. It's crazy. As governor, Keith Kasner will invest in rural communities, lower costs, and protect healthcare for the people of Wyoming. So he says. It says, Idaho Roasters Coffee House just kicked out our campaign, led by my 16-year-old son, Bear. They compared U.S. to the KKK, even though Planned Parenthood's founder, Margaret Sanger, spoke for the KKK. What? Hold on, let's watch this, guys. Let's watch this. Holy fuck.
Everybody is welcome, but I said I don't want this group meeting here.
Sir, we're just meeting for the first meeting.
Look at, I hate old people so much, guys. Look, it's killing me. It's frying me.
I don't care. Go to the public library.
Okay, so I guess these are pro-lifers, and this guy's unhappy about it.
This is my place of business.
But I thought this was like, we come here all the time. We just already bought our food and stuff.
That's fine.
But you're kicking us out of your... We're just
Did I
meeting
make
here
it
for the
very clear that I did not want you here? Yeah, I did a lot of work to get people on the ballot so women would have the right to choose in the state of Idaho. And this is something I do not support, nor does my wife, and it's our business. So we have that choice.
So you're kicking us out. You're kicking out me and Bear.
I can't stand these people. Yeah, man, you're getting kicked out. I get it. You're like having him repeat it so you can post it online and try and just leave the place. Who cares?
Who's starting this group, and you're going to kick us out.
It's like, if the KKK asked to meet here, I would say no.
So you think pro-lifers are like the KKK? Is that what you're saying?
In my world, it's the same. It's the
What?
same sort of...
Okay, listen, it doesn't matter. Like, a person can kick you out of the... They can trespass you, kick you out, no matter what, as long as it's not discrimination. This isn't discrimination. Is it? Ideology doesn't count as discrimination, I don't think.
concept.
That is so beyond far. Pro-lifers, those who advocate for the dignity of every human life, even children in the womb. You're saying we are like the KKK.
That's so funny. Sorry, I know that's kind of like a side thing. I don't know what this has to do with anything involving Wyoming primary, but old people are just so funny. Oh, man. DOJ will conduct election monitoring in Florida and Wyoming primary elections. Yeah, so said that they were monitoring. I don't even know what that means. Like, you just stand there while someone counts it? Let's jump back. Who do we got? Byrd versus Benavides. Why is it in Florida we had like 4 people running for governor in each of the primaries, but in Wyoming the Democrats only had 2? How is that? Like, I mean, I guess it's a really small state, but even on the other side for the Republicans, they had 5. They had 5 candidates, 2 of which don't even have pictures. It's real close. The Wyoming GOP primary is really close between Sam Heed and Harriet Hagerman. Let's check that out. Let's see what that's about, guys. Any Wyomingers? Wyomers? What do you guys call yourselves? If you spent more time being upset about the Wyoming GOP, that's old. Eric Barlow has a 94% chance of winning the Wyoming Republican governor nomination. Why? Liz Cheney, the vice chair of the committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot and a leading figure in the GOP effort to hold former President Trump accountable, was defeated in the GOP primary for Wyoming district she represented. Okay. Why all that extra information? Liz Cheney thinking about White House run. Okay, that's an old, extremely old. Sorry, that report was really old. My bad, guys. I was like, what the fuck? Does nobody care about Wyoming? Is that what's going on here? Does nobody give a fuck? Just like zero information I have on these guys. And what's the last state? Barlow. Oh, for governor. Barlow versus this. Dude, nobody ran for Democrats. He's just the only guy. The race is uncontested for Wyoming Democrats. It was just Kenneth. He just wins. That did happen here in Florida, actually, our last governor race. DeSantis, his opponent, just like got caught doing drugs and having sex with male hookers in a hotel. I think the entire thing, I think he was set up. Don't get me wrong. I think the entire thing was rigged. I think it was set up. I think there's a larger system in place, but still hilarious. Still absolutely hilarious that it happened. I still can't believe this guy's going to jail. Or not going to jail. All right, let's see. We got another one. Ryan Elijah defeats Representative Corey Mills. Oh my god, is that one of the... Holy shit, guys. The Somalian chick. She's getting kicked out of office. Ilhan Omar. Good riddance. Ilhan Omar should have 0 committee positions, let alone a seat in Congress. Wow. Elijah won with about 47% of the vote to Mills, 34% in the 4-way race for the 7th Congressional District. The seat Trump carried by double digits in 2024. Conservatives celebrated the outcome, pointing to Mills' deciding vote last year that shielded Ilhan Omar from censure over comments seen as justifying the murder of Charlie Kirk. No kidding. That's disgusting. Mills also faced investigations into sexual misconduct, of course, domestic abuse, and campaign finance issues, which he denied. Elijah now advances as the nominee in the district favorable to Republicans. Yeah, but does he get money from AIPAC or what? Wow. I forget what they call themselves. The Squad? I think she's a member of the Squad. Representative Corey Mills, who casted the deciding vote to block. I mean, it doesn't matter. Censorship doesn't even do anything. Getting censured in Congress doesn't do anything. It's retarded. I think this is Corey Mills.
You've mentioned the president many times. I have. There's a restraining order here with your name.
Sorry, this is Ryan Elijah. The Corey Mills.
That you lied to the president about.
Mr. Elijah, we're going to get to all that. Let's just stick to the...
He's mentioned the president 4 times.
Okay,
but he has his endorsement.
But again,
you've mentioned Sheriff Chitwood, who's endorsed not a single incumbent and actually endorsed against the Trump. So,
well, can you repeat the question if you want me to go down that lane?
This is my state too. I don't know about these guys. I didn't know they were my state.
Question.
Again, you've mentioned the president many times. I have.
What did he say? Something about sexual misconduct?
Order here with your name on it.
Oh yeah, a restraining order. Yeah, dude. Did you guys know that the Senate voted to not have their sexual misconduct be published? It was like blocked information, like you can't find it.
Elijah winning an outright. There it is. NBC News projects that broadcaster Ryan Elijah has defeated Republican Congressman Corey Mills in the primary in Florida's 7th Congressional District. Mills, whose campaign was beset by scandal, by allegation, by the notable lack of a late Elijah winning.
This guy's so excited. I love that. Honestly, I wish people were more excited about election nights because I think it's fun. You know, I don't even know who I'm cheering for at the time, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy. I did used to watch Charlie Kirk. I mention him a lot because of that debate, but I used to watch Charlie Kirk host his show during the debates, and he'd be up and excited and, like, yes, this person lost, this person won. And it was always kind of exciting. I like the energy that he brought to just voting in general and election nights. Republican Representative Corey Mills just lost his GOP primaries. He faces allegations of sexual misconduct and domestic abuse on top of campaign finance violations. Is he the guy who, oh man, there was somebody recently who was like pointing a gun at their child or some shit. Is it him? So Corey Mills is in fact a receiver of APAC money. $36,000. Honestly, that's much less than I would expect. Which had nothing to do with Israel. Ryan Elijah is just as supportive of the alliance. Yeah, I mean, Florida is very heavy in they're very heavy in the supporting of the alliance. You go, Florida. Yeah, Ashley Moody, I guess, is on track to win, so this person says, but I don't think so. Anna Paulina. I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised. The August 18th primary for Florida's 13th congressional district. I'll say this about my candidates in Florida. We have some colorful people. We have some fucking color. These people are all super animated. We've got a rotund bowling ball. Anna Paulina looks like a alien. That mouth is crazy, bro. Look at the mouth. That thing is huge, dude. She could bite your fucking head off. She's a character. Not a good character. She's a character. The primary for Florida's 13th congressional district was canceled because Luna was the only Republican who qualified for the ballot. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. We need more people to run. Trump backed the Air Force veteran incumbent with social media graphics declaring her win ahead of time. Democrat Leela Gray won her primary and will challenge Luna in the general election on November 3rd. In a district analysis, she is likely Republican. Yeah, I don't see her losing. I'm not going to lie. I don't see her losing. She's very safe. She's a woman, which is, that helps. And, I mean, I don't know. I'm like, she voted to release the Epstein files. Bless. She's big on the UFO stuff, which I think is at minimum fun and funny. Bless. She just kind of comes off as a little dim-witted, which, I mean, it's politics. Most of these politicians are fucking dim-witted. Luna defeated Democrat Winnie Fox, winning 54% of the vote to Fox's 45. I guess that was in the last election. Is that right now? Yeah. So, that's cool. Nothing changes there, huh? Yeah, goodbye, Corey Mills. We have this new white guy who looks like a fucking demon. I'm sure it'll go really well. Mills's campaign was engulfed by scandals, including a sprawling House ethics investigation, allegations of dating violence, and sexual misconduct. It's now like half of Congress. This marks the second loss tonight for Trump-endorsed candidate. Oh. Turning Point Action. I don't know if they're associated with USA. They gave him congratulations. And I guess they're hoping to remove Ilhan Omar. But, we'll see. Why am I only getting this? Stick a fork in it. Angie Nixon defeats Alex Vindman in the Florida Senate Democratic primary. Vindman outspent Nixon nearly 13-1. So again, guys, just emphasizing kind of what I was talking about earlier. Money doesn't always mean victory here anymore. A frankly stunning upset, at least to me, and another primary win by a progressive candidate over a much better funded establishment candidate. I don't know shit about the Democrats here in Florida. I don't know anything about them. So if you know something, hey, if you're a Democrat and you know things about these people, let me know. I just know for the Democrat side, things are kind of who's moderate versus ultra progressive. Somehow the left has moved further to the left. And they're kind of split in the middle, and the other half has moved slightly more to the center, which I think is good for them. I think that'll draw in a lot more votes. In general, the left right now is a lot more anti-foreign aid, is what I'm going to call it, and a lot more anti-war, which appeals to a lot of Americans. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Democrats take a lot more seats in November. Who knows? Florida, again, is a terrible representative of this. We're very red. It just is what it is. Republicans themselves seem to be splitting similarly on the same issues of who's receiving foreign aid or foreign influence money and who is still promoting the war. James Fishback is winning nearly every college precinct in Florida, Vote Hub finds. I don't understand why that would matter. Oh, are they just trying to say, like, yeah, the younger people like Fishback? Is that, like, surprising to people? I don't... Duh. Have they still not figured it out? This is Byron Donalds and Randy Fine. This was an ad that they had. Oh, it's GPT. It's made by Grok. It's AI. We'll watch it for fun. Although I'm kind of worried they'll say like slurs. Should I run it anyway? I'll have to bleep things out. Whatever. I'll play it. I'll bleep it out if I have to.
We are proud to announce our candidacy for governor and elect governor of Israel. Together, we will bring strong leadership to the people of Israel. Join us in building a stronger future for Israel.
I mean, it's not entirely inaccurate for the things they say. Like, it's a pretty accurate ad for them. You know, which, hey, maybe you're for it, maybe you're against it. I don't care. A lot of people seem extremely upset about the Dan Blitzerian thing, the cheating, which probably happened. There's probably some cheating, no doubt. I mean, how do you lose 2,000 votes? But I don't know. Even if I doubled the amount of votes you have there, Dan, you still lost. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. To be honest with you, I'm surprised you managed to have as many votes as you did. This is Florida State Representative Angie Nixon. So we just learned this woman won on the Democrat side. Let's listen to what she has to say, or what she had to say.
We are at 10,000 dead.
Oh, Jesus, man, that voice. Oh, Lord, okay.
We are at 10,000 dead Palestinians. How many?
It's way more than that now.
It will be enough.
Or at like at least 40,000 or something.
I also, one of my colleagues just said.
Oh my God. Okay, like, again, it's sad. I did a video where I went and saw live footage of the terrible things happening there, but I cannot stand theatrics. The whole pretending this person gives a fuck at all is, I'm not into it.
All of them. Wow. One of my colleagues said all of them. One of my colleagues also stated that this is going to dry up their fundraising if we vote on this resolution. I also want that, like, that's what we've become in this state.
Bro, Florida is so pro-Israel, it's like, not even, like, you'll not win. You're not gonna win on this platform, bro. Floridians do not care.
That's what we've become in this state, where we don't care about innocent babies that don't.
But you can't pretend that you care. Listen, I cover it because I care about all of the dead babies. I care about all of them, which is why I also cover the babies that are currently mining for your minerals used to build that microphone of yours in the Congo. I care about the dead Christian babies during the Myanmar Revolution, the many genocides in Ethiopia. Do I think you give a flying fuck about the dead Palestinian babies, or probably any babies in general? I do not. I'm sorry. I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
Like, that's what we've become in this state.
It's a buzzword.
That's what we've become in this state, where we don't care.
What do you want us to do about it exactly anyway? What do you like? We're like, what do you want the state of Florida to do? You want us to initiate a war? Like, what do you want us to do?
Innocent babies that don't even get the opportunity to blow out their first birthday candle.
I mean, like, yeah. What is this? Nixon was introduced at her last rally by Representative Rashida Tlaib. Okay, so she's part of the squad. They call themselves the squad. On Israel's actions in Gaza, Vindman said Israel was completely abiding by the law of armed conflict. So this is her opponent, Vindman, I guess. Said that he didn't see anything that shows that Israel's committing atrocities, and that protesters demanding a ceasefire were rallying in support of terrorism. Oh my. So, again, like I said, I don't know why. Who were we watching earlier? ABC? I don't know. They were saying that the biggest issue is election fraud. Who the fuck cares? People don't care about that. People are voting based on the current war in the Middle East, foreign money coming from you know who, and the economy, socialism versus kind of corporatism. And this is, I mean, is there a greater epitome of that right here between Angie Nixon and Vindman? Angie, who's in a fake uproar, but in an uproar about the dead Palestinian babies, and then the guy who says it's completely justified. Could they be any more opposite? It's funny that, again, the fuck does that have to do with America? More than 1 million immigrants are at risk of deportation. I don't care. I do not care. Florida is officially the new Texas. Yeah, I mean, I think Florida is just becoming more and more red, without a doubt. I don't think that's even close. David Jolly is the Democratic nominee for governor of Florida. So now I gotta do more research onto this guy. It's gonna be fun. Why do they all look like this? I wish they all looked younger. I'm so jaded by old people. Honest to God. Passed the Save American Act, non-citizens voting in the 2020 election. Yeah, it's a lot. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Let's see if there's an update. Eric Barlow still pulling the lead there in Wyoming for GOP. I don't think we're gonna see anything for Alaska till really late, and I'm not staying up that late, guys. I'm sorry. 1 a.m. is a bit much for me. I'm getting up there in age myself. Okay. Let me just see if I can pull up any more information before we close out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about I was watching Nick Fuentes. Sometimes I do that for fun. And I wanted to see what he had to say about the debate. I was watching what a lot of people had to say about the debate. And his take was extremely interesting, and it usually is. And I hate to be conspiratorial, but sometimes I watch these guys and I think, yeah, this is definitely a paid actor. Oh, God. So let's see. These are all of the Trump-endorsed candidates. Benny Johnson here. Yeah, I mean, not a surprise. Trump has the magic finger. He points at the person he wants to win, and they win. He's got a lot of influence. Randy Fine versus Dan Blitzer previews the future of Republican primaries, where the main divide is over whether to hate Jews or Muslims more. Wide array of genocidal, Nazi, eugenicist views on offer. Is she saying that both are wrong? Is that what she's saying? I mean, I don't really think it has to do with hating Jews or Muslims. I think it's just not wanting the culture, the tribal culture of the Middle East to infect our country and turn us into a third world home is really what it's about. So, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. That's just how I feel about it. In the Senate races, Ashley Moody and Angie Nixon have also been declared. The stage is now set for Florida's November general election. It's going to be fun. How many Trump-endorsed candidates lost their primaries tonight? Only 2. Only 2. All right. Anyways, I was watching him talk about it, and I feel like people, and I also, a lot of my videos that I posted about it are kind of picking up a little heat. And I'm actually surprised that a lot of people are saying that Candace Owens lost. First of all, I don't know. It really wasn't a debate, just in general. But I thought, at least at the start, she did a pretty fantastic job at dismantling the current narrative. And I feel like she didn't get any credit for it. I think she spoke well. I think she pointed out a lot of the fallacies that Andrew had. She was really good at pointing out the hypocrisies that he had. It did kind of get scattered about halfway through, and I think she could have done a better job at showing evidence, but he just had an entirely different take than me, and I was surprised that people can watch the same thing as me and, like, have entirely different perceptions of it. Whether or not he was being false about it or not. Just entirely different. And he started flaming conspiracy theorists. And I was kind of surprised. Like, why? I don't get it. Why flame the conspiracy theorists? What, what did they do? And I think being a conspiracy theorist often kind of discredits you instantly to most people. But I don't know. I don't know how you don't look at that case and think there's something a little additionally weird going on. Sorry, my little side rant, but I'm just surprised. Parties cannot ban independent super PAC spending in primaries. It is First Amendment protected speech per citizen united. Really, AIPAC is not a super PAC. It is affiliated. Its affiliate, United Democracy Project, made the expenditures. I didn't know that. This is from Bernie Sanders. It is insane that the Democrats allow super PACs like AIPAC to spend millions in their primaries only for those same special interests to help elect Republicans in the general election. My message to Democratic leaders: ban super PACs from Democratic primaries now. What an interesting community note. I don't really know what that means. I don't know the rules around super PACs and how it works. I guess I should figure it out. Do I dare click a Hassan Piker video? I have been tracking the social media following of Democratic candidates in contested primaries all year. One thing I noticed Nixon, which is the Angie woman, way outpaced Vindman on Facebook and Instagram, which have been the most reliable predictors of Democratic primary winners this year. Yeah, social media plays the larger role in getting people voted. I don't even think it's close. More than 70% of our endorsed school board candidates won their primaries or are going into a runoff. Congrats to all the winners and those who made it in the runoff. Let's win this in November. Interesting. Can't tell who or what this account stands for. Presidential primaries. Yeah, let's calm down. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves.
This morning finds 50. So our new CBS News poll out this morning finds 58% of Democrats have a positive view of socialism.
Yeah. Again, I don't know why that dog shit was. It PBS was talking about something so stupid. This is CBS. Still not a crazy big fan, and polls are polls. They're like always incorrect, but I do think this is partially true in the sense that more people are looking towards socialism and are looking down on capitalism. Although what we have right now isn't really capitalism; it's more corporatism, and it's not free market. It's moving away from the free market. I'm not a fan. I think monopolies need to be broken up. I think corporations in America have a little too much power, and not because they just have too much power. There are laws in place that are supposed to stop them from having so much control over the market because they're creating monopolies. They're pushing out competition, and our government isn't doing anything about it. It's disgusting. But if the government's not going to do anything about it, and corporations keep rising in power and they keep controlling things, then yeah, people are going to think socialism is the answer. If people feel like the market isn't good, they're going to look at socialism. It's specifically, I'm talking about my peers. I'm talking about my friends. I'm talking about my family. They're looking at socialism like it's the better alternative, which is not. Don't get me wrong, I fucking can't stand socialism and communism. Shit doesn't make any sense. But I'm not surprised that this is why. And really, I think it has much more to do with the politics that the socialists are pushing. But you can see the numbers here.
32% have a positive view of capitalism. What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that people are struggling. They're struggling because the cost of groceries is too high. The cost of gas.
It's just wrong. That's not why. I don't think that's why at all. I think it has way more to do with social media and public image more than anything else. People have been screaming about... People talk about the economy every single year, and their view on the economy is based on whoever's in charge. Meaning, when the Republicans are in charge, the Democrats say the economy sucks. When the Republicans are in charge, the Democrats say, sorry, when the Democrats are in charge, Republicans say the economy sucks, and vice versa. Don't get me wrong, inflation is terrible, but it's just ironic that both sides constantly cause more and more inflation. So
is too high. It's too hard to see a doctor, and when you do, the cost of that is too high as well. They're not asking for a lot. They just want to go to work, make a good living, be able to raise their kids, buy a home before they're 40, take their family on the same vacation they went on as kids. And right now, they're seeing a system that doesn't work for them. Now, I believe socialism is a failed experiment, but I do believe that we need to get results.
I mean,
For the American people. And I think when you look at Democratic governors, you see those results. I've been proud to...
Okay, whatever. Yeah, okay. So Democratic governors are performing, but also Democrats think they need to turn to socialism. How does that make any sense? Really? How does that make any sense? Democratic governors are performing, and yet for some reason, Democrats still see socialism as an answer. Okay, sure. That made sense. Good job, dude. You're a smart guy. Another loss for Trump-endorsed candidate Loff, following back-to-back defeats for his picks Lindell and Ogles in earlier primaries this month. Again, I wish I knew who this person was. I don't know who they are. I don't know. I don't be knowing. So, in the future, Democrats need a net gain of 4 seats in order to win control of the Senate. And Democrats need to flip a net of just 3 House seats in the fall to take back the House. I expect them to take back the House. I don't expect them to take back the Senate. But I could be wrong. Also, I don't know what advancing to runoff means. I don't know what that means. But that's the Lindsey Graham's sister versus Norman. And it looks like Norman is losing. I guess there were more primaries on the 11th, but you had... Oh, okay, well, I don't want to see it like this, bro. You had Flanagan, who I believe was anti-APEC. She won in Minnesota for the Democratic primary. Taboya win for the Republican primary in Minnesota. Tennessee, Democrat Bradshaw won. Tennessee Republican Haggerty won with a 99%. Jesus. Yeah. We'll see, guys. We shall see what happens. Manchin calls for a change in election. There's no competition. That's because not enough people are running. More people need to run. That's what needs to happen. There are nearly... This is Randy Fine, dude. Another senator I'm not going to be able to fucking stand. There are nearly 40 mini Mamdanis who have already won congressional primaries across America. Per Speaker Johnson, if you don't think the rise of Muslim terror is a serious problem, you're not paying attention. We can't allow the halls of Congress to be turned into Dearborn. Listen, people have to choose between Jews and Muslims, and some people are choosing Muslims. It just... I don't think either of you guys should be in office. You're all menaces to our country. It's gross. Rick Jackson takes the lead from Keisha Lance, bottoms in the Georgia governor's race by 0.1%. It's in a poll, by the way. So, who knows? I think these primaries, the actual elections in the October will be pretty close. Just voted in Florida for the next governor, Byron Donalds. Landslide in the primaries in Alaska. The truth hurts. Wow, I'm surprised Cat Turd voted for Byron Donalds. All right. I think that's probably it for the night. I don't really have that much. Tomorrow, I'll be doing an Epstein video. I'll have to dig through a bunch of files. I'm going to do it on this weird woman we were learning about the last time we were going through, the Mom Luang chick. I'm really curious as to what her involvement is. DMFI PAC congratulates Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Louis Frankel, and Congressman Jared Moskowitz. That's from Democratic Majority for Israel. Again, I don't see any other super PACs and PACs on my feed other than these ones for Israel. There's got to be a reason for that. Anyways, sorry. Tomorrow, yeah, we'll be doing an Epstein video. I'm going to be looking up this chick, Mom Luang, who I guess was royalty in Indonesia, I think. And may have facilitated some trafficking. I'm not entirely sure. No idea. But I think she found out and she turned on the boys, Epstein and the boys and company. Hating Jews may get you elected in New York City, but not in the free state of Florida. Yeah, it's because they fucking run this state, bro. This is like Epstein's home. Of course he ain't winning here. The DSA platform is based on CCP funding and racism. Yeah, I mean, I gotta choose between the...
Is truly racist. So first and
the Communist Party. I got people saying it's racist. It's anti-Semitic. My head hurts.
DSA platform is truly racist. So first and foremost, for example, in New York, you just saw them elect a candidate that made both anti-white and anti-Semitic comments, and she's likely to...
Oh my God. It's never changed. It's like we're still in high school. Sorry, it's like we're still in elementary school. Can you believe that candidate said no words? That political candidate said no words. Don't vote for them. They said a bad word, guys. The fuck, man.
To be the nominee that's going to be serving actually this 120th Congress for the Democrats up there. And so ultimately it's our job in the House, especially as vocal people with platforms, as members of Congress, to call it out for what it is. And ultimately, Sean, if we remind voters specifically of the big wins that we've delivered, that the president has delivered, remember, no taxes on tips, no tax on overtime. Banning insider trading, which is something that the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries specifically.
Hakeem Jeffries? The guy who asked Epstein for money? That guy?
Tried to stop. And then now, more recently, you see DSA candidates that are potentially running in 2028 talking about the issue of student loan debt. Meanwhile, literally, the Democrat Party again told their own members to stay off a discharge petition that would cap student loan interest at 2%. These are winning issues for the Republican Party. So we will be educating our voters and ensuring that they show up in the midterms. And I am cautiously optimistic that we will keep the crazy.
What a weird time to be an American, man. What a weird... Would you like your Islam, or would you like your Talmud? Huh? Pick, guys. Pick your poison. What would you like? Tell me. Listen to this. This is Darlene Graham, who is set to replace Lindsey Graham, and she's a cutting, image of him in policies. I haven't really looked into her, but let's listen. I guess this was a debate. Maybe I should go watch this.
On the national security question as well, Senator, are Taiwan and the South...
Old people can barely speak, and yet, I'm supposed to listen to them. Look at how old these people are, man. Old.
On the national security question as well, Senator, are Taiwan and the South China Sea...
She can't even move her fucking mouth. I can't even understand what she's saying.
Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States.
How would she even know that? How would she even know that? Do you think a random person gets to just decide what's a national security issue? The Pentagon decides, and then it tells everybody else. What a terrible question. It's just a layup, right? She's just supposed to say yes, and that gets her wins. Like, that's what this is. What a fucking dog shit question, man. Maybe I should watch this debate. Honest to God.
If so, why?
Oh yeah, I forgot to say if so, why? I would hate for you to just say yes.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the...
And then she has to repeat it because she's so old, she can't fucking hear. Oh my God.
If our Taiwan and the
It wasn't even a question, it was basically a statement.
China Sea national security issues for the United States, and if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security.
Oh, man. I mean, I got to imagine the question is specifically designed that way so that she can just say yes. All the old people, boomers, can clap their hands and be like, yes, of course, we hate China. Fox News, CNN tells us to not like China. Please say China bad. And then, you know, everybody gets their gold star. This woman's so fucking stupid. She doesn't even understand what's going on. Asked to repeat the question, then she's just like, I don't even know what national security means.
Security, so, but I do support the military.
On the national.
Oh, no, bro. I did not just see that. This is not real life, guys. This is not real life. This is not happening right now. There's no way I just saw this shit. This is a parody, right? I think I've seen this on like a beauty pageant where they ask her a complex question about Africa and she goes on this long tangent that doesn't make any sense. That is not what I just saw here live from a replacement for a senator, right, guys? What is this? Should we go watch it? Fuck it. Should I just extend the show tonight and we should just go watch this for fun? Let's do it. Okay. Let's see. What is this? A debate for something. Another MAGA retard. Oh my god. Alright, give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec while I pull this up. Jesus, I cannot believe that I just saw that. Darlene Graham versus somebody debate. Oh god. This is 6 hours ago.
Voters, many of you will have.
Oh. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Alright, I found it. Let's watch it, guys. Why not? Normally, I turn these into whole episodes, but fuck it. We'll just kind of watch it for fun. What's the harm? Oh, hey. You guys ready to lose some brain cells with me? Of course you are. Of course you are.
Live from the Newberry Opera House in South.
All right, so this is the U.S. Senate special Republican primary runoff. Okay, but like what? I don't even know what state Lindsey Graham was Senate for. Oh, South Carolina. Right, sorry.
South Carolina.
Years I've been in Congress. I'm the most conservative member. You know how I'm going to vote. My resume is my record. And whether it's all the agencies that rate how you vote, I've been a taxpayer hero for as long as I...
We're just going to skip to the questions, okay? Let's just skip to the questions.
Paycheck to paycheck. Was honored and excited today to get the Susan B. Anthony endorsement. That meant a lot to me. I strongly support the Second Amendment.
Senator, I'm going to do the same too that I had unfortunately have to do to the congressman. I have to cut you off for the 90 seconds.
Oh my god, bro. What is... Like, listen, I hate flaming people for how they look, but she can't even move her mouth. Like...
Get through the debate. I've now done this to both of you.
She's scary looking.
So I'm going to go to the questions now, and I'm going to ask the first question. Congressman, I'm going to give it first.
She kind of looks like a man.
To you. Gas prices are record high. Americans are pinched at the gas station. Half the country is living paycheck by paycheck to paycheck. What can you do in the U.S. Senate to try to alleviate this economic pain for so many citizens?
I cannot wait to hear the answer, but we all know why gas prices have gone up, right? Like, all of us know why gas prices have gone up. It's not a hidden thing, and both of these guys are Republicans, so I'm curious to hear the answer.
What I'm going to do in the Senate is wake them up. Save America is my goal. Save America is my goal.
What the fuck does that mean? I'm going to wake them up. Save America is my goal. I think he's talking about the voter bill, the voting bill. What the fuck does that have to do with gas prices?
Should have been passed. It hasn't been.
What does that have to do with gas prices? I'm sorry if I'm too loud. What the fuck does that have to do with gas prices?
That being said, on lowering gas prices, we got to get the Straits of Hormuz opened. And the president has done a good job. He inherited...
We have to get the Strait of Hormuz opened. Meanwhile, I can put up a tweet today of Trump saying the strait is open. This guy's about to glaze Trump for having the strait open. Ready?
A wreck with Joe Biden. So the time
listen, I didn't like Joe Biden, but I'm pretty sure the Strait of Hormuz was more open then than it was now. So, like, I don't know if that's the answer.
What he will have to do is move forward to making sure the war and the oil prices are low. I've got to make sure, and I will do as a businessman, go to the businesses, cut regulations.
It's like they're not even trying. It's like they're not. I could just put on like a fucked up old man skin mask. I could do this, guys. I could kill it. I could kill it.
Exactly what is needed. Affordability is needed all over the country, and it's not happening in South Carolina. It's not happening. It's straining people all over the country. So with regulations and getting involved,
it's not regulations that are bringing up the gas prices. I'll tell you that much.
Know what they go through.
There's also I'm not aware of any oil fields in South Carolina. I could be wrong, but I don't see how opening up regulations in South Carolina is going to make gas prices cheaper.
From day one, and I will take the time to do that.
Senator, same question to you. Gas prices are record high. Americans are pinched at the grocery store, living paycheck to paycheck, half of America. So what can you do in the U.S. Senate to alleviate that pain?
Well, I know how that feels. There's 50 million people in South Carolina. Half of them live paycheck to paycheck. 60% of them don't have 3 months savings to get by. I've been there before. I've struggled too. I trust President Trump to get the Strait of Hormuz open.
Is it open or is it not open, guys? I'm confused. Even the Republican senators don't seem to know.
Iran is the weakest it's been in 47 years, but we cannot let them get a nuclear weapon.
Listen, I'd hate to say I hope the Democrats kind of win some spots, but man, these people are fucking dumb.
But I tell you who voted to increase the gas tax, and that's my opponent. And I can tell you that doesn't help people at the pump.
Next question goes to my colleague, Than.
On the economy, Senator Graham, the national debt is approaching $40 trillion, and interest payments are consuming an increasingly large part of the federal budget. What significant area of federal spending would you be willing to cut or reform to put the country on a more sustainable fiscal path?
I think President Trump has already done a great job cutting spending. He's cut.
Dude, like 30% of every dollar printed has come from Donald Trump's terms. Like, what? Huh? Like, what the fuck? I just saw a graph. Do I have it? I think I have it. Look at this, actually. She just said that. Look at this graph. Look at this graph I just fucking randomly had to have because I was going to show it next stream. That's not the graph. I'm an idiot. Huh. All right, forget it. I'm fucking... Oh, yeah, this is it. I'm a genius. Just kidding, guys. Look at this. Look at this fucking graph. Look at President Trump terms when it comes to spending. Fucking $4 trillion just so far this term. $7 trillion his first term. Like, what the fuck? He has spent almost as much as Biden and almost as much as Obama, and I'm supposed to sit here and praise him for what? For what? I mean, look at every president since fucking Reagan or Carter. Jesus, $2 trillion Reagan, $2 trillion first Bush, $2 trillion Clinton, fucking $4 trillion second Bush. Obama at nearly $10 trillion is absurd. I've got Trump at nearly 8 his first term. What? Trump has done a good job. Trump has not done a good job at shit. Look how much fucking money we're still spending. It's ridiculous.
Cut a lot of fraud, but I think there's more fraud to be cut. When I worked in state government...
Oh my God, you absolute fucking retard. He said, which area would you cut funding? I would cut funding. Oh, great. Great answer.
The things I focused on was duplication of services. I worked to cut duplication of services to save taxpayers' dollars. I think there's more duplication going on in the federal government that we can work on cutting. So I think we need to identify more fraud, wasteful spending, and...
Yeah, I mean, duh. Like, what? We need to identify more fraud. Yeah, no shit. I mean, literally every young person on this planet looks and sees fraud everywhere. You're just old. You see it as a fucking paycheck into your pocket.
And duplication of services.
Right. Congressman Norman, same question. What areas of federal spending would you be willing to cut or reform?
Well, the cancer in America is overspending. The fact is, we don't cut anything in Congress. I've been
I like his answer more than hers.
a lone wolf, lone voice for cutting. The Doge Commission identified over $100 billion, and we only had $9 billion in cuts because politicians, both Democrat and Republican, cannot cut. You got to live within your means. And we're facing a crisis not just on the national level, at every single agency. The Highway Trust Fund, Social Security is going to run out at the end of, actually before the end of the 6-year term that I'll serve in the Senate.
This is true, and yet I keep seeing these 80-year-old politicians talking about how they actually need to increase the amount they get from Social Security.
So it's cutting spending, it's identifying the waste, fraud, and abuse, and that we already know, but we hadn't had the courage to do it as a body, and that's what I will be a voice for doing that and singling out exactly what items needed to be cut and bring it back to South Carolinians and to the people all over the country.
Kevin, you have the next question on the economy.
Congressman, back to you talking about Social Security. If you can elaborate on that. 1.1 million South Carolinians rely on Social Security, but like you said, the program faces a significant financial shortfall and insolvency in 6 years. At that point, the law requires a 22% cut. Do we keep Social Security? How do you fix it? And please be specific.
No, we can't keep it as the way it is. Again, it's kind of like the cuts. We just hadn't had the courage to tackle Social Security because we have worthless notes that it's not like the money that is the taxpayers that's accumulating for them to spend. And to say it's to face a 25% cut is outrageous. It ought to infuriate every American. What we
Why? I mean, I assure you, it doesn't infuriate anyone under the age of fucking 30. Like, sorry. Listen, my age younger fucking hates old people, bro. Most of us would start clapping if Social Security collapsed right now. Like, sorry, that's just the way it is. I'm not, like, trying to be hateful. I'm just saying that's the general sentiment a lot of young people have towards older people right now. And specifically towards the amount of money they get, because they just keep demanding more and more and more. Just not looking good. Keep shooting yourselves in the foot. But you just don't see it as a problem until it is, and it'll be a problem.
What we'll do is put up concrete bills that will let Americans spend more of their own money. And the politicians simply have not been willing to do that. The Americans are perfectly capable of spending their own money. Money is one thing. The other thing is just calling it out for what it is. There are people that have a Social Security number that aren't even living. That's part of the waste, fraud, and the abuse that are taking advantage of the system. We'll have the courage to call it out and to try to get this system solvent.
Senator Graham, to you, talking about Social Security, how you would save it?
Social Security was put in place to protect our elderly from living in poverty. So we have to keep Social Security. Lindsay and I relied on.
Oh my God. Okay, that's nice. That's fantastic. But what if we can't pay for it, you dumb cow? We don't have any money. We're broke. We're $40 trillion in debt. A third of our money has to go towards interest. That's insane. You don't care because you're going to die in a decade. But like my generation kind of cares. It seems important if our currency just fucking collapses or goes into hyperinflation. You can't just keep printing dollars so that you and your fat ass colleagues can all live in heaven while the rest of us will probably die in squalor because of it.
on Social Security when our parents died when we were younger. So Social Security is important. I have an aunt who's 90-something years old. She relies on Social Security. At the agency I worked at, one of the ways we did it is we helped train individuals who are blind or low vision go to work. Our successful
What in the fuck does that have to do with Social Security? What the fuck?
employment rates were trending up each year. What that meant is they were no longer relying on the government, on Social Security, disability insurance, and SSI. So they were less.
So you plan on training every blind and deaf person, and you think that's going to put a dent in Social Security income? Like, I don't think so.
Reliant on the government and earning wages to support their families. So the more programs we have like that, and also cutting fraud.
Oh, so the more programs you have like that, so you want to increase the government, which would increase spending in order to bring down spending. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Fucking what a typical government answer. We need to hire more people. Every single time, that's their answer. Oh, you have a problem? We need to hire more people. What's that? We're spending too much? We need to hire more people.
Fraud and waste.
Print more money.
From the economy now to healthcare. Van, you have the first question.
Congressman Norman, even though President Biden gave him a sweeping federal pardon, Dr. Anthony Fauci invoked the
Okay, look, I like talking about Fauci. What does this have to do with healthcare?
Fifth Amendment at a recent Senate Homeland Security Committee hearing on COVID-19. The committee voted to hold him in contempt of Congress and refer him.
This has nothing to do with healthcare. I'm all for bashing Fauci. I hate Fauci. I did a whole 3-hour-long video on him. What the fuck?
To the Department of Justice for potential prosecution. Do you believe Dr. Fauci should be held in contempt and prosecuted? And as a U.S. Senator, what would you do to hold Dr. Fauci and future Dr. Fauci's accountable?
And future Dr. Fauci's accountable. Bro, these guys are funny.
Being in an orange jumpsuit. I mean, bottom line.
Okay, how though?
Folks, I was the only congressman that stood with the frontline doctors on the steps of the Supreme Court. And the fact is that if you listen to the...
So far, I like him more than her. I don't like him that much, but I like him more than her.
Senate hearings, him taking the fifth, he killed 1 million people. So
yeah,
yes,
killed more
and
than
if they prove an autopen signed his pardon, I hope they'll take him, they'll retry him and put him in jail. He has no remorse. That's the problem with this man. The ego, the books, the money he made is outlandish. And when he even asked him for to apologize, he didn't have the decency to do that.
Well, that's because if he did, an apology means an admittance of guilt, which could be used in court. Now, again, I want to see him hung by his toes, worse than prison. But he was very smart for just pleading the fifth.
And
he knows
I
he's a
didn't wear
criminal.
a mask. I got fined by a stupid Pelosi for not wearing a mask. It was insane the whole time. But we have to call it out ahead of time. And then again, it gets back to politicians calling a spade and making sure we don't fall for another virus which is coming down the pike.
Senator Graham, same question. Should Dr. Fauci be held in contempt and prosecuted? And what would you do to hold him and future Dr. Fauci's accountable?
Dr. Fauci stared at the floor basically the whole time they asked him questions. 111 times he refused to answer the questions. I think that's absurd. So yes, I think he should be in jail as well. Here's my concern, though. My opponent received $600,000 in COVID bailout money and convinced President Trump, or tried to convince President Trump, not to extend the $600 unemployment money for laid off workers. So that's a bit concerning for me.
I mean, I don't know. She's just trying to throw shade at him randomly. And fine, but she's really bad at it. And some of these things are they're just whatever. I don't know. Who cares?
You have a healthcare question on
Oh my god! Again, she seems very much for let's print money, pro-war. She's probably just, somebody gave her this list of list of things to say while on stage, and she's just kind of reading them out. It's even on a yellow little notepad. Dude, I don't know. I get that it's a rush job, but you couldn't do a better. Couldn't have put in slightly more effort here in order to at least make it look natural. She doesn't even look interested in being there, to be honest with you. She looks bored.
Here.
Does he want to rebuttal?
Well, I'll ask, Congressman, do you want to respond to the COVID question? Do you want to respond to the COVID, the $600,000 and the allegation about President Trump?
Look, COVID was a disaster, man-made, put up with.
This is a worse debate than the last one I watched. This is one of the worst debates I've seen. This is worse than Biden versus Trump.
By the government. It's got me not believing anything the government says with what they perpetrated. World Health Organization.
She's not even responding to what she said. Bro, Boomer's got to go, bro. I can't do it.
We should have withdrawn from that for a long time. There's other viruses that they're going to try to put on the American people that we can't put up with. And I would just say we cannot have a repeat of COVID.
Is anything registering between any of these people? Honest to God. Like, do you think the moderators are hearing what he's saying and thinking, like, this guy's an idiot. He's not even responding to her. Like, do you think she's his opponent, the woman, Graham's sister? Do you think she's registering? Like, what am I? These are NPCs. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are just robots yapping at each other.
Yeah, but you have a question on Medicare.
Senator Graham talking about Medicare. Like Social Security, Medicare is also facing a pending shortfall, which would lead to a 11% cut in payments. So what is your message to 1.27 million South Carolinians who rely on this program that faces insolvency in 7 years?
One thing we have to work hard to do is maintain Medicare.
Did he not just ask the same question to somebody else before him?
Care for our elderly. They rely on that, and Social Security I've already addressed. We have to maintain the Social Security benefits for the elderly. Here's where I have a problem with the Democrats. If it were up to the Democrats, they would have Medicare for all, and that would bankrupt our country.
We're already bankrupt, bitch. We already bankrupt. $40 trillion, 30% of all of our budget goes to interest. We are already bankrupt. Jeez. Wow, talking point. Boomer clap. Yay. Boomer. She said Democrat bad. Boomer clap. Boomers? Boomers in the crowd? Clap on.
Congressman Norman, same question about Medicare.
Yeah, if you look at the Medicare and actually Medicaid rolls, you have illegals that are drawing benefits, and not just that program.
Dude, he speaks better, honestly, and that's pretty much it.
You know, trying to have some checks and balances. And what the American people want are consequences for these people. You've got to have the willingness to identify who they are and get them off the road.
He doesn't. He does have a notepad in front of him.
It is a program that it's not if, it's just when it's going bankrupt. And for us not to even touch the ones that should never have been on the payrolls anyway is just wrong to do.
What would you do to improve access to health care across the country? Because it's very uneven. A lot of people don't have access.
Obamacare was a wreck. It was a one-size-fits-all. There again, Ms. Pelosi and her
you know, I don't want to talk about healthcare.
Her comment that you got to pass it before you read it. Every congressman, every senator should have stood up and said, "We're not going to do that. We're going to read it first and understand it." No, as a business owner, you expand HSA accounts where businesses can deduct it. You let the patient pick the services that they want. Not have, again, one size fits all. You ought to shop across state lines for your policies and make it competitive. There's no one in this audience that when you get a doctor's bill, you can't read it, you can't understand it. It's not that difficult. It's done for a reason. We got to hold the insurance companies accountable and make sure we can read it and understand it and know what we're paying for. That's why these concierge doctors who don't want to deal with insurance companies and the government because of the delays, they want to be able to go, pay cash, and go home.
Senator, what would you do to get greater access to people across the country who don't have access to health care to make it more even, accessibility easy?
Right.
What in the
I'm worried about South Carolina. A third of our rural hospitals are in danger, at risk of being closed. President Trump allocated $50 billion for rural hospitals.
My
200
God.
million of it went to South Carolina. I currently sit on the Appropriations Committee, so I would make sure that more money comes into South Carolina to help support these rural hospitals.
She is so pro print dollars, it is absurd. I mean, Lindsey Graham was the same way. Print. I'll just ask for more money. I'll just hire more people. I'll just spend more money. Holy shit, bros.
Because we can't deny access to people in rural communities.
Okay, whatever.
Turning to national security, Gavin, you have the first question about the war in Iran.
Yeah, okay, you, Senator. President Trump signed a 60-day deadline for ending the war with Iran and reaching an accord on its nuclear program. That deadline passed on Monday. Do you support continuing this war with Iran? You have both voted against a war powers resolution containing the president. So what does victory look like? What is a win for you when it comes to Iran?
You know, I fully trust President Trump when it comes to the war in Iran. 47 years this has been going on. Iran.
True. 47 years it has been going on, and we seem not one step closer to achieving our goal. As a matter of fact, somehow Iran seems closer to achieving their goal, and I've only gotten stronger. Huh.
Is the weakest they have been in 47 years.
Oh, is she saying the exact opposite of what I just said? Interesting.
The one thing that concerns me is we cannot let them get a nuclear weapon. So I trust President Trump and everything he's doing. I think he's got this, and I trust him on it.
Congressman, what does a win look like in Iran for us?
The win looks like, he took them out militarily as far as getting a nuclear weapon, where you had...
What? He took them out militarily as far as getting a nuclear weapon.
Obama paying cash bribes in the middle of the night. So he did the job to take them out. They were a severe threat, and he had the courage to do that. Now,
all right, my conclusion, I'm not going to finish. I'm actually going to wrap up here. My conclusion is that anyone who votes for either of these people in South Carolina, I feel bad for you. Either you're too intelligent and you've probably just given up, or you just feel like you have no choice, or genuinely these people represent the stupidity that is the state, and I am just sorry. I am just genuinely sorry. They have no understanding of the actual questions being asked. They have no understanding of what anyone else in the room is saying, and they're just reading off of notepads. This is, we'll wrap up on this. Byron Donalds.
We've been crisscrossing Florida. We've been knocking hundreds of thousands of doors, taking our message to all Floridians. And tonight, because of your sweat, because of your hard work, we have won a massive victory. Now, we've just come through a hard-fought primary. I got a call from Paul Renner and James Fishback tonight. And they, hold on, I'm gonna tell you why in a moment. And they congratulated me and all of us on a hard-fought victory.
Ay. All right. I think that's enough. That's enough for tonight. I think I'm cooked. I think we've... honestly, I should not have watched that last debate. I've never felt so sad about politics in my life. Those two are just awful. They might represent the worst of the worst. And, yeah. But, hey, we will see what happens in a couple of months. Thank you guys for spending time with me, listening to me, and enjoying the show. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, again, we'll be talking about... I'll be doing an Epstein video. Hopefully it'll be good, and we find some juicy but not disgusting content, because, again, it's always just gross, but maybe it'll just be interesting without gross. That would be nice. If it's happy evening, morning, night, afternoon. Hope you have a wonderful Tuesday or Wednesday and the rest of your week. And I will see you guys tomorrow.